Jennifer here. I'm here to share with you this beautiful Christmas tree I created for Ooh La La Vintage Treasures. And the first part that I'm showing you here is how I took this fluffy fabric and cut it into different shapes of the internal part of the tree. I was trying to figure out how I could use this fabric to cover the entire tree, and this was the way that I came up with, and I'm sure you guys might have come up with a better way, but this is the way that I decided to go ahead and do it. So I measured one of the pieces, and then from that piece I decided to cut all of the pieces that I would need for each section. Now the lower portion, the middle portion, and the upper portion are all different sizes, so I had to measure 3 times to cut each piece that I would need for each section. So that's all I'm doing here, is taking this fabric and making a base layer for the tree so that I can add all of the beautiful embellishments and the laces that she included. So that is what I'm doing here, and then I've got the last section, which is the top, and that was a little tricky because it was a little smaller, and I was just trying to lay the fabric in a particular way that I could get the right size. And then once you have one measured, you can cut all of the pieces for that section. So that's what I'm doing here, and it'll lay nicely on top of the tree. Okay, so now I have all of the pieces that I need to assemble this tree. I'm so excited because I figured out how to cover the entire base of the tree. This is just going to be assembled with some hot glue, and that's how it turned out. See, it looks so nice. Now it's a patchwork tree, I call it, but you know what? I think that it made the perfect base layer for my tree. And there I'm showing you how I started adding some of the trims that she included. And there's the inside. You can see that each piece is covered, all of the portions of the tree there. And I basically took all of the lace pieces that I loved the most, and this was my favorite, that dangly trim, and I just started wrapping it all around the tree, and I decided to go at a slant angle instead of straight around the tree. I decided to go up at an angle just to give it some interest, I guess, and it made the laces go a lot farther. I started some at the bottom, I started some in the middle, and then I just started layering them on top of each other, trying not to cover the pretty parts of the lace, but some parts were organza, so you could see underneath that lace, and that's that really pretty cream colored lace with the organza. It's like the box pleated on top, and even though it's layered, because a lot of the fabrics are sheer and a lot of the trims are sheer, you can still see pieces of each trim, which I like so much. And I loved that white trim there. Oh my goodness, it was so pretty. And I started and I just kept turning and going above the box pleated trim all the way as far as I could up the tree. So that is my kind of first layering of all the little trims and stuff, and wanted to show you how far I got there. I used only, from here I think I used only the trims that were in the kit. I did add one lace trim to the bottom of the tree, but you'll see that later. One of the trims was from my stash. But I love how the creams and the whites look. It's so pretty. Now here I'm showing you how I decided to make some like ornament dangles. And so I took the really pretty doily and I cut it into pieces. Can you believe that? Yes, I know. And then she had all of these little rhinestones that were attached. So what I ended up doing was peeling the sticky back off of this, off of these rhinestones, which I think is what was adhering those rhinestones to probably some vintage item that she found at an antique store. And with that, I was able to, you know, kind of get the black background off of the rhinestones. So I'm just taking off all of that black, like rubbery, sticky trim, and then I cut each little piece, and I was able to get like nine stones out of that. So that worked out really cool. And they all, you know, were separate from each other. They didn't have the black on it, which I think made the rhinestone look better. And that's what I decided to do. And then I just attached the little rhinestone pieces to the little dangle part of the doily. I ended up cutting that in half again just so I can have one little piece, but here I'm showing you how I used them on the tree. Now this is the topper, the little heart that she included. I thought it was so cute. I used that for the top, and I attached the snowflake, and I added some pearls there with some snowflake paste, and there's a little rhinestone piece, and there's the little dangle that I used from the doily. And then these words I call this my inspirational tree because it's got a bunch of different words from Luisa Diaz's shop. Now she is Kitty Scrap Post, KSP by Luisa on YouTube, and she has a blog that I'll leave below where you can purchase her kits, and she made an inspirational word kit, and I love it. I cut each, basically printed it out on cream cardstock, and then I distressed the edges a little bit, and I cut the words down so that I can put them and tuck them into the tree. So I've got praised, I've got blessed, I've got joy. There's a bunch of different inspirational words in there, and I'm just showing you that how I attached them throughout. That furry fabric too was really cool. I love that. I tucked that in different spots. And then this particular box I just created from some paper, some digital papers from Luisa's shop, and I tucked that under to make a base for my tree. It was that simple. It was I'll leave the kit for that particular paper below. It's got some music on it, and I thought it was perfect for this project. But you can see all of the different layers, and there's another inspirational word tucked in under there, and another one there. That one says trust. And that one says faith. I love it. From every angle, I get an inspirational word, which I just absolutely love that. And I just put pearls throughout, and some of the rhinestones and little bits and pieces of applique that she included. And that's my final tree. And at the top, the little dangle, I think it turned out so cute. So guys, I thank you so much for watching. Thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And please let me know what you think of my tree. And I will talk to you guys real soon. Merry Christmas. And I'll see you in the next video.